If you think you understand what your cat is telling you because you've learned to recognize a few meows or tail positions, you're doing better than most cat owners, aren't you? You know the "I'm hungry" meow. You recognize when their tail goes puffy. Maybe you've even learned that purring means they're happy. And honestly, that seems like a solid foundation. But here's what most cat owners never realize, and what I wish someone had told me years ago. Those obvious signals everyone talks about. They're just the surface level. The tip of the communication iceberg. And beneath them is an entire silent language your cat is speaking every single day, with their eyes, their whiskers, their body positioning, their breathing, that you're completely missing. Because here's the truth that changes everything. Cats are not loud communicators by nature. Meowing is actually something they developed specifically for humans. In the wild, adult cats rarely vocalize to each other. Their real language, the one they've used for millions of years, is almost entirely silent. And while you're listening for sounds, your cat is broadcasting complex messages through dozens of subtle physical signals that most owners never learn to read. The result? You're having half a conversation, interpreting maybe 30% of what your cat is actually saying, and missing critical communications about pain, stress, affection, and need. Most cats are trying desperately to tell their owners something important right now, in this moment, and those owners have no idea. Let me show you the 6 most crucial things your cat is communicating through their silent language, because once you learn to see these signals, you'll understand your cat on a level you never thought possible. 1. I'm in pain. Let's start with the most critical and most commonly missed communication. Your cat is in pain, maybe from dental disease, arthritis, a urinary tract infection, or something more serious. And they're telling you. But you're not seeing it because you're looking for obvious signs like limping or crying out. Here's what most cat owners don't understand about feline pain communication. Cats are hardwired to hide pain and weakness because in the wild, appearing vulnerable makes them targets for predators. So the pain signals they give are subtle, silent, and easily mistaken for other things. Research on feline pain assessment, published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery, identifies specific behavioral indicators that most owners never connect to pain. Here's what your cat might be doing right now: decreased grooming, resulting in a duller coat or mats forming. You might think they're just getting lazy or old, but they're actually telling you that grooming hurts or they don't feel well enough to maintain it. Changes in facial expression, and yes, cats have measurable pain faces. Their ears may be held slightly back more often. Their whiskers might be tense or pulled back against their face instead of relaxed and forward. Their eyes might appear slightly squinted, not the peaceful slow blink squint, but a tense, uncomfortable squint. A study developing the feline grimace scale found that trained observers could identify pain with high accuracy based on facial features alone. Altered interaction patterns. A cat in chronic pain often withdraws from social interaction, not because they don't love you anymore, but because touch hurts or they're conserving energy to cope with discomfort. They might hide more, sleep in unusual positions. Cats with arthritis often avoid curled up positions because they hurt, or react negatively to being picked up when they used to enjoy it. And here's the signal that most clearly says, "I'm in pain," but owners interpret as behavioral problems, changes in litter box habits. A cat with arthritis might eliminate just outside the box because climbing in hurts. A cat with urinary pain might associate the box with discomfort and avoid it. You think they're being difficult. They're telling you something is physically wrong. The stakes for missing these signals are high. A study on chronic pain in cats found that up to 90% of cats over age 12 have arthritis, but it's diagnosed and treated in less than 13% of cases because owners don't recognize the signs. Your cat has been telling you they hurt. The question is whether you're listening. 2. I'm stressed out. Now let's talk about the cat who seems fine, eating normally, using the litter box, not causing problems, but is actually experiencing chronic stress that's silently destroying their quality of life. Your cat is communicating this stress constantly through body language you're interpreting as normal cat behavior. Here are the silent stress signals most owners miss. Whisker position. Relaxed, happy cats have whiskers that point slightly forward and fan out gently. Stressed cats pull their whiskers back tight against their face or point them rigidly forward in a tense pattern. Look at your cat right now. Are their whiskers relaxed or tense? Pupil dilation. Beyond just responding to light, a cat's pupils dilate when they're stressed, fearful, or overstimulated. If your cat's pupils are frequently dilated even in normal lighting, they're communicating arousal or stress. Research on feline autonomic responses shows that pupil size is a reliable indicator of emotional state, yet most owners never notice it. Tail position and movement. Everyone knows a puffed tail means fear, but subtle tail signals go unnoticed. A tail held low or tucked signals insecurity or stress. A tail that's swishing or thumping, not the gentle swaying of a relaxed cat, but sharp, rhythmic movements, signals agitation or frustration. Your cat is telling you, "I'm uncomfortable with this situation," long before they escalate to hissing or swatting. Excessive grooming or displacement behaviors. A stressed cat often grooms obsessively, not because they're dirty, but because grooming releases endorphins and serves as self-soothing behavior. Or they might engage in displacement behaviors, suddenly grooming when startled, yawning in tense situations, or scratching seemingly randomly. These aren't random actions. They're stress management techniques, and their presence tells you your cat is feeling overwhelmed. But here's the stress signal that's completely silent and almost universally missed: freezing or becoming very still. When threatened or stressed, many cats don't run or act out. They freeze. They become statue-like, barely moving. Owners interpret this as, "My cat is just relaxing," or, "They're being calm." But a relaxed cat moves naturally, shifts positions, blinks, twitches their tail gently. A frozen cat is a stressed cat hoping to avoid notice. A study on chronic stress in indoor cats found that owners accurately identified stress in their cats less than 40% of the time, despite the cats displaying multiple behavioral indicators. Your cat is screaming, "I'm stressed," in their silent language. You're just not fluent enough to hear it. 3. I trust you completely. Let's shift to a positive communication that most owners see daily but never recognize for the profound compliment it is. Your cat is telling you they trust you with their life, and the signal is so subtle you probably walked right past it this morning. Here's what the highest level of cat trust actually looks like: deep sleep in your presence. Not just sleeping, but true REM sleep where their paws twitch, their whiskers move, they might make little sounds. In the wild, this level of sleep only happens in locations that are 100% secure, because the cat is completely vulnerable. When your cat achieves deep sleep in the same room as you, they're communicating that your presence equals total safety. Slow, steady breathing while making eye contact. This is different from the slow blink, which is also trust. This is when your cat looks at you and their breathing remains calm and rhythmic. No stress response, no pupils dilating, just peaceful observation. They're telling you, looking at you doesn't activate any threat responses. You are safe. Exposing their back to you. We've talked about this before, but it bears repeating because it's so misunderstood. When your cat sits or lies with their back to you, they're not being rude or indifferent. They're demonstrating that they don't need to monitor you for threats. In cat body language, turning your back is reserved for the most trusted individuals. You're so safe that they can focus their attention elsewhere while you're behind them. And here's the trust signal that looks completely mundane: your cat going about normal maintenance behaviors in your presence. Eating when you're in the room. Using the litter box when you're nearby. Grooming thoroughly instead of just quick licks. These seem unremarkable, but they're actually your cat saying, "I feel secure enough to tend to vulnerable activities while you watch." Research on cat-human bonding found that cats modulate their behavior significantly based on who's present. The fact that your cat acts naturally and vulnerably around you, instead of waiting until you leave or hiding these activities, is active communication of trust. If you're starting to see that your cat has been having entire conversations you never knew were happening, that's exactly what Whisker Wisdom is about. Subscribe so you become fluent in the language your cat is already speaking. And stay with me, because the next 3 communications are the ones that, when missed, create the most heartbreak and misunderstanding in cat-owner relationships. 4. I need space right now. Here's the communication that prevents bites, scratches, and the frustrated. My cat is so unpredictable. Complaint. Your cat is telling you, clearly, repeatedly, with increasing urgency, that they need you to stop touching them or give them space. But you're missing every signal until they escalate to aggression, and then you blame them for attacking out of nowhere. The silent escalation ladder looks like this, and your cat goes through these steps in order before resorting to teeth or claws. Step 1. Subtle body tension. The cat goes slightly still, their muscles tense just barely. You won't notice this unless you're paying close attention, but it's the first "I'm reaching my limit" signal. Step 2. Ear rotation. The ears, which were forward and relaxed, rotate to the side or slightly back. Not flat, that's advanced warning, just a positional change. This is, "Please be aware I'm getting uncomfortable." Step 3. Tail movement. A previously still tail starts to twitch or swish. The movement is small at first, maybe just the tip. This is, "I'm really starting to need this to stop." Step 4. Skin rippling. You'll see a wave-like movement of the skin, usually along the back. This is a neurological response to overstimulation. They're essentially having a sensory overload reaction. This is too much input, I'm overwhelmed. Step 5. Head turning. Your cat turns their head to look at your hand, or at you directly. They're checking whether you're reading their signals. This is, "Are you getting this? I need you to stop." Step 6. Body shifting or pulling away. They lean away from your touch or shift position to create distance. This is, "I'm actively trying to end this interaction." Only after all 6 of these silent communications have been ignored do most cats resort to step 7, bite or sweat. And then owners say the cat bit out of nowhere. But they gave you 6 clear warnings in their silent language. You just weren't listening. Research on feline aggression found that in 95% of sudden aggression cases, the cat had displayed multiple warning signals that owners either didn't see or didn't interpret correctly. Your cat isn't unpredictable. You're illiterate in their language. 5. I love you. Now let's talk about the most heartbreaking miscommunication. Your cat is telling you they love you, multiple times per day, and you're either missing it entirely or waiting for more obvious signs like a dog would give. Here's what feline love actually looks like in silent language: the half-closed eye look. This is different from the slow blink. This is when your cat looks at you with eyes that are either fully open nor fully closed, just peacefully half-lidded. This is called soft eyes in feline body language, and it's a contentment and affection signal. They're saying, "Being near you feels good." The head tilt while looking at you. Some cats will tilt their heads slightly when making eye contact with their person. This is actually an attention and bonding behavior. They're focusing on you, studying you, engaging with you as a social partner. Gentle, rhythmic breathing while near you. When your cat is close to you and their breathing is slow, deep, and steady, they're in a parasympathetic state, the rest and digest nervous system mode that only activates when an animal feels completely safe. This breathing pattern while in your presence is them saying, "You make me feel peaceful." The synchronized movement. Watch what happens when you shift position or move to another room. Does your cat adjust their position too, maintaining a certain distance or proximity? This synchronized behavior is actually a bonding mechanism observed in socially bonded cats. They're telling you, "I want to maintain our spatial relationship because I like being in orbit around you." And here's the love language that looks utterly mundane, just existing in your space without needing anything. Your cat chooses to be in the same room as you, not because it's time to eat or they want play, but just because. Research on feline social preferences shows that voluntary proximity without resource seeking is one of the clearest indicators of genuine attachment. Your cat has been saying, "I love you," in 6 different silent ways. You've been waiting for something that looks more like human or dog affection. And meanwhile, they've been speaking their own language of love that you never learned to recognize. 6. Something is wrong. Finally, let's talk about the most urgent silent communication. Your cat telling you something in their environment or routine is wrong, disturbing them, or needs to change. This isn't about pain, we covered that, or stress, covered that too. This is about specific environmental or social problems they're trying to bring to your attention. Here's what this looks like: staring at or fixating on something. Your cat sits and stares at a wall, a corner, a specific piece of furniture, or a particular area repeatedly. They're not spacing out. They're telling you, there's something about this spot that's wrong. It could be a noise you can't hear, rodents in walls, plumbing sounds, electrical buzzing. It could be a smell you can't detect, mold, pest pheromones, residual scents from previous pets. But your cat's superior senses are detecting something problematic, and the staring is them saying, "Hey, you need to know about this." Avoidance of previously used areas. Your cat used to sleep in a certain room but now never goes there. Or they avoid a particular chair, corner, or pathway they used to use regularly. This is active communication. Something about this location has changed and I don't feel safe here anymore. Maybe new furniture off-gases a smell they find offensive. Maybe there's a draft or temperature change. Maybe something happened there that stressed them, and now it's a negative association. But they're telling you this space is no longer okay for them. Changes in routine timing. Your cat suddenly wants breakfast an hour earlier, or they're using the litter box at different times, or their sleep schedule has shifted. When routines change without obvious cause, your cat is communicating that something in their internal or external environment has shifted. It could be pain, affecting when they're comfortable eating, stress, affecting sleep, or even that they're hearing/seeing something at specific times, wildlife outside, neighbors' schedule, that's altering their sense of safety. Resource guarding or increased territoriality. Your previously relaxed cat is suddenly more protective of their food, water, litter box, or favorite spots, especially in multi-cat homes. This is them saying, "I don't feel secure that my needs will be met. There's competition or threat I'm anticipating." Even in single-cat homes, this can signal that they're experiencing scarcity stress, not actual scarcity, but the perception of it based on past experiences or environmental cues. Research on environmental communication in cats shows that cats attempt to signal environmental problems long before they develop behavioral issues. The staring, the avoidance, the routine changes, these are all your cat trying to tell you, "Something is wrong here, please fix it." When you ignore these signals, they escalate to urinating outside the box, aggression, or other problem behaviors that finally get your attention. But they tried to tell you the quiet way first. Here's the truth that changes your entire relationship. Your cat is not mysterious, unpredictable, or aloof. They're communicating constantly, clearly, and specifically. They're just doing it in a language you were never taught to understand. And the reason so many cat-owner relationships feel one-sided or frustrating is because there's a language barrier, not a lack of communication. Your cat has been telling you they're in pain, but you thought they were just slowing down with age. They've been telling you they're stressed, but you thought they were just being quiet and independent. They've been telling you they trust you completely, but you were looking for more obvious displays. They've been warning you they need space, but you kept petting until they had to bite. They've been saying, "I love you," in a dozen subtle ways, but you were waiting for something louder. And they've been flagging environmental problems, but you thought they were just acting weird. None of this is your fault. Nobody teaches cat owners to read silent feline language. We're raised on dog communication, which is loud and obvious and readable even to beginners. Cat communication requires attention, patience, and education. But once you learn it, everything changes. At Whisker Wisdom, we believe every cat deserves an owner who understands what they're saying. If this opened your eyes to conversations you've been missing, share it with someone whose cat has been trying to tell them something important. Your cat wakes up every day and communicates in the only language they have. With their whiskers, their eyes, their breathing, their body position, their routines, their choices. Every single behavior is a word in a sentence they're trying to complete. And maybe tomorrow, when your cat's whiskers pull back slightly, or their pupils dilate in normal light, or they turn their back to you while you're reading, or they stare at that corner for the 15th time this week, you'll finally understand what they've been saying all along. I need help. I'm uncomfortable. I trust you. Something's wrong here. I need space. I love you. All of it spoken in silence. All of it waiting for you to learn the language. All of it hoping that one day, finally, you'll understand. Your cat has been talking to you since the day you met. Now you finally know how to listen. And that's not just communication. That's the beginning of a real conversation, spoken in the language your cat has been using all along.